right. I was just saying to Jorien that sometimes this video and the sound comes back in my dreams because I've seen it so many times. For those who are here for the first time, I'm very glad to welcome you to the StartLife Demo Day. This is the 13th edition. My name is Lut. I'm the program director at StartLife, and together with the team, we are very proud to present to you 10 of our latest startups and scale-ups in the A La Carte program. Before we start, I'd like to see some hands of who we have in the room. So I'm curious, who is a startup here in the room? Can you please raise your hand? Ooh. Okay, that's quite a bit. That's like 1/3. Investors? Yes, good. And corporates or innovators? Who do we have in the room? Fantastic. Who didn't raise their hand? Okay, good. So today you'll be listening to, as mentioned, to 10 later stage startups. Before we do so, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on the StartLife A La Carte program. When I arrived here on campus, this was in 2007, there was literally no startup ecosystem in Wageningen. I think that there were like 2 or 3 companies that were founded here from this campus, but that was about it. Then in 2010, StartLife started, and it gradually grew into what it is today. And I think around 5 years ago, more and more later stage startups started to knock on our door. And at first we said, yeah, I mean, that's not what we do, right? We do early stage startups, we help these founders to get started. But at some point we said, okay, well, our mission is to accelerate startups to shape a more sustainable food system. So we said, okay, let's think about it. Let's talk to founders. Let's see what we can do to help them accelerate. And that's where we started the A La Carte program. So what are we doing for these founders? Actually, we have organized a menu based on all the interviews that we had with these founders, where our appetizer is basically a meeting with the founders, between the founders and the business coach, where we really get to know them and identify their needs. And then based on these needs, we basically pick from the menu what the startups can benefit from. So sometimes that's access to investors, sometimes it's access to corporates, sometimes it's access to shared facilities, and many other things. Global exposure, of course. So we help around 15 startups a year in this program. It's a 12-month program. Startups can enter on a rolling basis. That's basically what we do. What is important to mention is that all the startups that you will see today are considered to have product market fit. That means that in many cases, they already have revenue or they have landed a big investment, so that they are a little bit later stage than the startups that we usually present to you. So far, we have supported 94 startups in this program, of which 30% have a collaboration with Wageningen, and 40% are located in the Netherlands, and 95% of these startups are still alive. So before we move to you, Jorien, I'd like to take a moment to share this number with you, 629. This was the number that Jean mentioned last year. 629 is the amount of money that our startups have collectively raised over time in the last 15 years. And today I'm very glad and proud to announce that in the last year, even in these uncertain times, our startups have added another 120 million in funding last year. So let's give them an applause. So Jorien, now on to you, on to my co-host. Jorien is probably the smartest person on the food side that we have in our team, together with Madelief, of course. She's the most colorful person walking around on this campus, and it's really an honor to host this show together with you, Jorien, today. Let's give her an applause.
And then for me, the honor is to thank even more people right at the beginning, at the front end, and that is our partners, because without our partners, we wouldn't be here today. We really couldn't make this happen at this scale. We've never had this many people in a room without these people supporting us. So thank you so much for that. And I specifically want to highlight 2 more people from this huge list of logos. So I want to highlight Yanmar Ventures and Idera Labs, because they recently joined us. Yanmar Ventures in our investor space, they are coming from a background of, among others, agri-machinery, and they want to use that knowledge to support startups in their early phases. Sebastian, I saw you earlier today. Are you here in the room with us? Yes, right there. So if you think, hey, I have a machinery startup and I want to know more, talk to Sebastian. And then secondly, I'd like to thank Idera Labs for joining us, because they are a PR and marketing player in the innovation space, and they have teamed with us to support our startups in our programs. So thank you both so much for joining our journey and for being here with us. And then it is my pleasure to talk you through our menu. This is the A La Carte startup pitching session, right? So we have a menu set for you with 2 main courses. Each main course contains 5 startup pitches, and there is an intermezzo in between with our house-style alumnus update. Today brought to you by No Palm Ingredients. Every startup pitch that you will see will be around 2 to 3 minutes, and then there's time for questions, because that's where you all come in, with all of your knowledge and all of the things that you wonder. We want to hear from you. And for here in the in-person audience, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We have a catch box that will get thrown to you or will get to you. Stand up, talk into the catch box so that we don't miss out on your lovely questions. If you are joining us from online, we are joined by our colleague Chaco, Community Manager at StartLife. He will take any and all online questions and raise them to us here on the floor, so that we don't miss any. If it really is a burning question and you think about it during the pitch, dear audience online, please already start writing it immediately, because there is a tiny bit of a delay and we don't want to miss it. Then, at the end, we have, of course, our dessert. You may think a la carte, that means that I get to choose, right? Yes, you're right. That's part of our dessert menu. During the dessert of our after party, you get to have drinks and bites from some of special guests of StartLife this time around. So some startups have brought their products to us. And you get to network. Like I said, this is where you come in. Please network with the people that you have the answers for, or that you have extra questions for. Talk to them. Make your own menu of startups that you want to follow up with. And if you don't manage to do so during the session today, we have handily provided you QR codes throughout the entire presentation. They will come back, so you don't have to worry about it immediately. The QR code will bring you to a DocSend with additional information for all of the startups, so some contact information as well as potentially their pitch deck. I see some phones still clicking. 3, 2, 1, and otherwise you have to wait for the next Q&A. Because I am very happy to welcome our first pitcher to the stage. Please give a warm welcome to Thomas Belaerts from Mercato. Thomas, it's never easy to be the first one. Here you go.
So recently I was at a large European wholesaler of fruit and vegetables, and in their warehouse they had approximately 1 million worth of strawberries standing around, harvested, packaged, and just waiting for a buyer. The buyer that never came because they did not have a buyer at that time due to a lack of good forecasting capacity of what their retail partners were going to order. And this is not an isolated case. So if you zoom out and look across Europe, almost 27% of fresh fruit and vegetables each year, amounting to 16 billion, is thrown away or discounted heavily, leading to massive pressures on both environmental and profitability in this sector. And that's exactly what at Mercato we focus on every day. So our vision is to accelerate the transition to a more sustainable food system. And our mission and our first steps now are using the power of AI to reduce waste and drive profitability in the fresh produce value chain. So isn't it amazing that if you look at these two products, that the company selling the black cookies has made forecasting their superpower, have advanced tools and processes in place, and the company that's selling the blackberries is mainly relying on fragmented data, silos, and Excel sheets. And this is something that has to change and that we are focused on at Mercato. So what do? We have set up a platform which is part data aggregation, part AI model, and part decision support for our users. This enables us to aggregate data varying from Excel files to open data such as weather information, trade flows, etc., to then feed that to our users to make better decisions. We look at both supply and demand. So we forecast what the production of farmers, growers across the world will be, and we look at what, for example, the impact of weather and climate situations are on demand in retail to allow our customers to make the best allocation and the best match, driving down waste and driving up profitability. It leads across our customers to a forecast that's 25% better and saves them on average 50% of the time making these forecasts. We're a team of 7. We're based in Amsterdam, and we're building Mercato together with strong industry partners across Europe. We're changing the food system and would like your thoughts, questions, and potentially support.
Wonderful. So who dares to open the floor with the first question after hearing all of it? All the way in the back.
Catch it as well. Hi all, I'm Freydun from Samyang Foods. Thank you so much. Great way that you are going. I think more needs to be done in this way. But what I didn't quite understand is how are you going to do it? Because I'm sure with all this data, more fancy things, it will be all more beautiful. But at the end of the day, the farmer needs to sell to someone. And if he's not coming and pick it up, it's going to the waste.
Yeah.
Even you have data.
Yeah. Sure. So it's a short pitch, of course, so I had to cut some corners in the process. But basically what we do is we focus specifically on one part of the value chain in the sector. So that is typically a cooperative of farmers or growers or a wholesaler. These companies, they are an aggregator. So they get their produce from a lot of different farmers or growers, and then they sell it to retail, food service, etc. This allows us, first of all, to unlock a lot of data at once, so not going farmer by farmer, but looking at the wholesale level, where basically our forecast leads to a better commercial and operational planning, which then leads to less waste and higher profitability for these cooperatives, and then translates back into the farmer income, right? So, of course, there has to be demand in the market, but the better placed you are if you move from a 1-week forecast to a 4- or 5-week forecast, you are able to pull certain levers, for example, planning a promotion with a big retailer to reduce the volume that you have in stock and get, on average, a better price for it.
Wonderful. I think we have time for one small question, if there's one more. There's one from the online audience.
What has been your customer experience so far?
It's a broad question. So I'd like to split it into two parts. One is what is the forecasting accuracy, and then what is like the platform, etc. I think in forecast accuracy, I mentioned it before, but we see on average that we're able to improve their forecasting accuracy by 25% up. Both on the production side, so for example, what can I harvest in Morocco in a couple of weeks, and on the side of what is my retailer going to order in terms of different products. This is very valuable, but then there's a second part, which is a part change management, right? I think these guys in fresh produce have been doing the business for hundreds of years, and in our platform, increasingly, we're building features that I don't want to use it too much, but for example, Strava, right? So that you see how your performance was over the last weeks. You get specific tips based on AI to improve that. So for example, hey, you forecasted 6% too much for a vine tomato last week, to get into a flow where the users find it more rewarding and easier to make their forecast and to get to a better result. So overall, if I answer your question, very happy with the forecast results. very focused on adoption to get everyone using it every day and build it out.
Well, I think you answered the question of the online audience.
I think so. Well,
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks.
Let's give Thomas a big applause.
and next up, I get to welcome to the stage, there he's already coming, Cian Duggan, CEO of Resurrect Bio.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So I'm Cian. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Resurrect Bio, and we find ways of using gene editing to make crops resistant to disease. We're a plant biotech company based in London, and we want to become the world-leading plant disease resistance company in order to increase food production whilst decreasing pesticide usage by eliminating plant disease, basically. We're a team of plant molecular immunologists. I did my PhD with Dr. Tolga Bozkurt at Imperial College London. We've worked together for a long time with Professor Sofiane Kamoun from the Sainsbury Lab in Norwich, and we actually spun out of there in started 2022. We've done a small pre-seed round and a seed round in March 2023, where we raised 2 million, and we built the company and the team you see today. So what do we do? Well, we're trying to solve a technical problem, which is that crops don't really evolve, but pathogens do, and they unlock the immune system of crops and defeat it. We find these defeated resistance genes in crops that exist today, and we change the locks. We find edits that can restore their function. We do this with our rapid trait discovery platform. Works in just 1 or 2 years. We can develop a trait, works on any crop, most pathogens, and many pests, and can work with as little as 1 DNA change. So it fits into many regulatory requirements. We've published 2 papers on this, a patent on this, and there's even been some independent validation. It's a 3-step process, so computational, which is bioinformatics, and an AI algorithm to try to predict the locks and the keys. This is protein-protein interaction prediction. We then do a lot of wet lab screening, high-throughput screening in the model organism, where we synthesize DNA and screen it in a model organism, where we try to find a true hit, a true key that unlocks the lock. We then do protein engineering to resurrect the resistance gene, and that's our product. It's intellectual property, which we license to the seed companies. They do the gene editing, the breeding, field trials, and they sell seed to farmers, upon which we get a licensing fee, milestone payments, and revenue sharing. We're developing joint development agreements with seed companies at the moment on tomato, sugar beet, sunflower, spinach, and corn, worth collectively more than $2 million. And we're currently raising our Series A of $10 million. So this is for 3 years runway to develop traits, 18 in-house traits rather, in soy, corn, wheat, cotton, and canola to unlock a $22 billion market. And we're also developing 10 in-house traits. So we're negotiating a term sheet at the moment, and I'm looking for any investors in the audience who would like to speak with me about joining the round. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, and any questions?
Yeah, well, we have a couple investors in the room, but I see that Karen already has a question.
Karen.
Throw it. Good catch.
Thank you very much for this exciting presentation. I have a question regarding your business model.
Sure.
You seem to be very decisive. There would be technology licensing rather than selling seeds.
Yes.
Why? Or do you also consider a combination?
I think for 1 or 2 products, we will push it as far into the value chain as possible, but actually our platform is too fast. So it develops too many traits, and it's impossible for us to be able to do the gene editing on all these different crops. It would be impossible for us to become a big enough seed company to deliver all that seed. So it's sort of a poison chalice having such a productive platform. It's not compatible with that business model you suggest. Also, I think this is a little bit better because it gets us earlier revenues, and it's more compatible with the VC investment model.
If it works, it's great.
Thank you. I'll prove it will. It will. Cheers.
Yes?
Thanks for your presentation. I'm going to ask you something which might sound weird. But
Oh, no.
you present it as if it's a good thing to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you explain why is it good? Because to me, if you make everything resistance, it's not a good thing. That's not how the nature should work.
I disagree.
I hope so.
While plants actually are resistant naturally via the same mechanism to most diseases, crops are a little bit more susceptible because we don't allow them to evolve. So we're just taking the place of evolution. That's all.
By any chance, any questions on that side of the room? Yes.
Hello. Do you have any issues yet about your technology causing crops or seeds to be labeled as GMO?
Yeah, we would. So for instance, if we developed a product for the EU via gene editing today, it would be labeled as GMO. That's absolutely correct. In the US and other parts of the world, South America, Brazil, for instance, it wouldn't be labeled as GMO, it would be labeled as conventional breeding. So it's not a problem, but proposed new breeding techniques, legislation in the EU and in England, once that passes, it will be labeled as conventional, non-GMO.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
I just had a very simple question. Why did you choose only these crops?
Yeah, I think you just have to start somewhere. Actually, the reason we chose those specifically is the commercial size, really. So if you focus on berries, for instance, they're a very fragmented market. Investors in particular are very keen to see how the size of the market makes sense economically for them. So I think in the future we'll be able to go for smaller markets, and with our joint development agreements we are, on spinach, for instance. But for VC-funded projects, it really needs to be on the big crops. But yeah, eventually all crops, it's fine.
Thank you.
And I think that's all the time we have, unfortunately. Bet that there are questions left. So thank you so much. Next up, I am happy to welcome Thierry Laval from Food Pilot to the stage. All yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present you Food Pilot, which is a SaaS platform. So, we created this company 3 years ago because the agri-food companies, they are facing major challenges. First, the raw material access, quality and yield due to climate change. Also, the pressure from the retailers that request to provide CSR report, BEF report, and carbon report, and also pressure coming from customers that request to eat sustainable and responsible product, and also, last but not least, the regulation here in Europe with the CSRD, but also emerging requests in Asia and even in US, despite the current situation. So, what is Food Pilot? Food Pilot is a SaaS platform that enables the agri-food company to drive their sustainability from farm to plant. So it's enabled the company to drive the CSR progress and also to drive the carbon progress. Using actual and verified data, it's why we have a partnership with Bureau Veritas for the verification of data. So how does it work? The platform, it's an API that can be connected to any other API, and the platform collects the data at the farm level because 80% of the footprint of a food product is at the farm level. We collect the data from the farm management system, but also from the accountants. When we don't have access to the farm management system or the accountants, we use our semi-specific system that we invented, and it's why we have been rewarded in France. What is a semi-specific system? It's a system that if you just focus on, say, 50 up to 60, the most impactful practices across your supply chain, you get 80% of the footprint. So it's easy, faster, and cheaper. Then at the cooperative level and at the plant level, we can use the system, the semi-specific system, or the accountants. And then the platform calculate and measure the impact against the different score in which the agri-food company wants to be compared. And then the AI triggers action plans and trajectories to put in place across the supply chain. It enables also the company to engage all the stakeholders of the supply chain. So at the moment, we have a significant portfolio of customers. We have more than 25 customers, mainly in France, because we just started the international development this year. We have international company and also wine industry and also retailers and trade association. We work with BASF because we use their two digital tools, which is Xarvio and AgBalance, and we have partnership with Capgemini, Bureau Veritas, and it's a B2B SaaS model. So, we have created this company 3 years ago, and this is what I can say at the moment. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So yeah, let's open the floor once again. Is there any question for Thierry?
Thierry, what is the biggest difference between doing business in France and in the Netherlands?
Sorry?
You're expanding into the Netherlands?
Yes, but not only in Netherlands, because Italy, Germany, and of course we want to expand here in Netherlands, which is a major market for us.
And how do you experience the difference between doing business here with customers?
Well, they are facing the same problem as in France. I mean, the challenges are the same and equal everywhere in the world, because we even work with American companies like Mondelez, but just in France.
Yeah. Okay, good. Any questions? Yes, Sam?
Thierry, I had a question. Could you share one use case that you were working with one of your clients, how you helped them?
I didn't answer.
One use case of working with your client with the data that they are giving and how you were able to basically support them.
The data that you're talking about, the data, so it's very simple because the data are scheduled. So it's very difficult for the AgriFood company to get this data. It's why we use a specific system, because it facilitates the collect of the data and you can engage all your stakeholders in the supply chain.
I think the question of Sam is like, can you give an example of like a company that you helped and what did you do?
I can give you many examples. For example, Maïsador, which is a major cooperative in France, and they work with farmers, but also they transform chicken and they make foie gras. So they need to collect the data from their farmers, and we put in place the semi-specific system. Some of their farmers, they use farm management system, so it's very simple because we connect our system to their farm management system. Or if they don't use farm management system, we collect the data from the semi-specific system.
Okay, thank you, Thierry.
Okay,
we have time for one more question, short question. Yes, here in the front.
I was wondering if it's also possible to track and trace the product you buy in the shop to the farmer where it is produced.
I mean, we can have all the information of the product because we work with a company for the QR code. So the QR code is used either on the packaging or for the retailers. So we can get all the information and bring together all this information on the QR code.
Talking about QR codes, if you want to know more about Thierry and Food Pilot, scan the QR code. Thank you.
And it's once again my job to pull in the spotlight, to pull in the attention. And this time I want to welcome to the stage Michael Siegler, CEO and co-founder of SCO2.
walk-up music before. That's kind of nice. When I see this image, I think of a technology that is a little bit of a legacy technology that certainly served its moment in time. And today, that's exactly where extraction technology is at exactly the wrong time. We're in an ingredient polycrisis right now between climate, political unrest, supply chain disruptions. Let's add tariffs on that at the time when food manufacturing is looking for cleaner label, more natural, functional foods. And we're going nowhere. So SCO2 has developed, really reinvented an ingredient innovation platform using supercritical CO2 extraction, which we're going to talk just a little bit about today in order to address this. So what do we do? What do we do for ingredient innovators? Really three main things. We're going to help them in discovering new ingredients, purifying existing ingredients. Think of like plant-based proteins and how do I get pea flavor and pea color off of those so we can have better protein sources that don't have off tastes. And then recovering value from different side streams to be able to make that happen. So we've patented and developed a breakthrough supercritical CO2 system that's automated end-to-end that can do things that no other system can really do. A traditional system is very manual and it's very effective, and that's beautiful. We didn't invent supercritical CO2. We just made it able to scale cost effectively. What's been super fun along this journey is really getting some of the metrics around how much cost reduction we can get, how we can automate this process, and then really scale it. And one of the great things is really seeing this through our clients' eyes. And this is really them saying that we are defining the green extraction tech of tomorrow, which is very similar to another technology that we're now very familiar with. We're talking about a very huge paradigm shift. When scientists come and visit our facility and actually see what we're doing, their eyes change. Their conversation changes about what's possible now. So we're super excited to lean into that. And it's no doubt that we're working with some of the brightest minds in the world around this technology, and we're really just getting started. Of course, it takes a world-class team. We can talk about them later. And we're trying to finish out our seed round so we can really keep up with demand and meet capacity. So if you're an investor, I'd love to talk to you about this. If you're a corporate, I'd love to talk to you about how we can unlock some new value. Just so you know it's real, this is our facility in beautiful state of Minnesota, where we can run some pilot scenarios for our clients and help them understand how we can make it work for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Questions? Anybody? Yes. Ubald.
Thanks. Interesting technology. And to continue the analogy with the phone, are you considering to come up with to the market with a kind of app store?
Say that again?
A kind of app store?
No, no kind of app store. No.
Then
it's just an analogy of showing the differences between a very analog legacy technology and then a new digital. It's like the difference between the old supercritical CO2 technology and ours.
But is then your business model basically that you develop the technology on specific client request for a specific ingredient, specific process?
It is, yes, and we'll license that technology to them to help them implement that in their facilities so they can unlock the majority of that value.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on supercritical CO2? Yes, in the back, Karen. Ooh, that's probably a long throw. No.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, next time I'll catch it again. Thanks for this presentation. Did you observe any effect when applying CO2 critical extraction to the nutritional value of the ingredients, their level of undesired substances, or their metabolism?
In the use cases that we've done so far, no, and these are really our client specifications. So we typically will do the extraction and then send it back to them for the analytic results. So far we have not seen that, no.
That's good news.
Yes, we agree.
Regulatory-wise, I mean.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Padraig?
Is there any limit on what kind of ingredients you can extract? Can you work with any kind of starting material?
Starting material, there's a lot of different biomasses. I think we won't know for sure, but typically supercritical CO2 is going to be best for non-polar molecules, so your lipids, fats, waxes, flavors, colors, things like that. Polar molecules won't come out with supercritical CO2 necessarily. It's possible once we've done that side of it, we may be able to come back with a co-solvent to then start fractionating proteins or other compounds, but more to be done there for sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then before we go to our intermezzo is Riek Smook, CEO and co-founder of Grassa.
Thank you. Michael, we definitely have to talk after this, but you will see that in my presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the protein transition has been well on its way for 10 years and more, and there's still a huge challenge. We need 50% more protein to be produced in 2050 with less land, lower carbon footprint, and above all, at affordable costs. Is that a problem? Not if you look down, because it's grown already on most of our fields. My name is Riek Smook, and I'm the CEO of Grassa, and we unlock the full potential of grass. And there is a lot of potential to grass. Grass is by far the largest crop on earth. It's bigger than soy, wheat, and rice together. And it produces more protein, for instance, than fava beans, which is considered a protein crop. And it has a problem-solving capacity for the current user, which is the cow, and the future user, and that's us. Because we have developed a process that we extract proteins from grass. And it's not going to be green or grassy tasting. Together with Michael, we're going to solve that. But it has a neutral color and a neutral taste. And it has a nutritional value that is better than that of soy. And we are discovering all kinds of interesting functionalities. And that makes this a perfect candidate to replace soy, but also animal protein, in all kinds of different applications. And you know what? What is the biggest difference? It's the price. Because we can already offer this at an economical value compared to that of pea protein, which is a soy alternative. And that's not all. Because one of the side products of our process, the pressed out grass, is fed back to the cows. And the cows produce the same amount of milk with it, but now with a lower carbon footprint and with less nitrogen emissions. That seems to be a problem here in the Netherlands. And in addition, the dairy farmer becomes a plant-based protein producer. And he produces up to 2.5 times more food with an additional earnings model. So if you put this in numbers, the impact is huge. For a Dutch environment, if we process 20% of the grass, you would solve the manure excess problem in the Netherlands. The nitrogen balance has been restored. If you do this with 60% in the Netherlands, you produce so much protein that you can replace the full soy imports. And then it becomes very clear that on a global scale, you have the potential to feed the world population locally with grass protein. Sounds too good to be true? No, it's already happening because we've been processing and piloting for the last couple of years. We have a fully funded program that involves 50 farmers, and in 2 years' time, we want to build our first full-scale refinery. We have a very strong and experienced team, and we are very happy that the founder, Johan Sander, a professor from Wageningen, is still advising us. And we also already have quite a strong investor and partnership base. But we need more partners from across the value chain to get this to your plate in time. So if you are a food processor or an ingredient producer or a distributor or an impact investor, please don't let the grass grow under your feet, but help us in unlocking its full potential together. Thank you.
Yes, immediately. Behind you, Lut.
Mauricio.
Hello. One question is what variety you're using, and also I think you should take it to the tropics and use it for regenerating degraded soils.
Yeah, fully agree. Fully agree. The first question I didn't quite catch. What was it?
Like what you are using Poaceae, but what variety you're
type
using?
of grass?
What type of grass? The great thing is, and that's why we also need to go to the tropics, is it doesn't really matter what leaf source you use. The protein that you extract from any leaves is the same. It has all to do with chlorophylls. So it doesn't really matter if it's the normal ryegrass or it's with herbs in it or with clover, we can process it. And we use grass because it's the best crop, it's the largest crop, but also because we solve quite a number of issues for the current user on it.
Yes, in the middle. Thomas.
Thank you for that. How does this work in terms of regulatory approval for the ingredient?
That's the dreaded question. Yes, we do need novel food for this. So we're concentrating the proteins from larger batches. It has been done on leaf sources already before, not being grass, but for instance duckweed and also the sugar beet leaves. And that's where we add on to this process. But yes, we need a novel food for this. For the food side of it, but for the feed side of it, it can already be used.
Thank you for your presentation. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the logistic challenges that you are faced with?
Yeah, because that's the other thing, and you're absolutely right. We're moving a lot of water here, and this is also the reason why we go on grass, is because basically all the logistics on harvesting the grass, it's already there. It's been done by the farmers right now, and we break into their normal process of ensiling the grass. And we want to get the presses, because that's the first part of our process, as close to the farmer as possible, more likely on his own area. And then we transport the juice to a central refinery. And that central refinery looks a lot like a milk facility as well. There we refine the grass used into these products. So it's linked very much to the current process that the farmer already has.
Okay, one more short question there in the back.
Thanks for the presentation, Reeks. Great one. What I want to ask you is, we know that for a fact climate change is impacting the quality of grass that's growing here in the Netherlands and the world over.
Yeah.
If your model is based on extracting nutrients, how are you going to negotiate the drop in nutrient constituents of grass as the impact of unseasonal rains or high temperature impacts like the basic grass?
Yeah, well, this is where optimization gets into place. And if you start talking to people that produce grass seeds, they already have on the shelf the variant that is better against drought and dry conditions. We could also add clovers to the field in order to get more nitrogen from the air and restore it into the product. So there are all kinds of optimization methods possible to get even more out of this. And then to answer the question on the tropics, if you put grass into a tropic environment, then you get a whole lot of protein from it. It's twice the amount of that we get from it here in the Netherlands.
Oh, I guess Mauricio and you should talk. So.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank you so much, Reeks. We think we need to move forward, but thank you. Yeah, we already. Can you believe that we're already halfway done? This was already 5 pitches, guys. This is how fast it goes. But at least I am due for a little bit of a palate cleanser. Who's with me? I see even a couple of people leaving. They don't want to stay for the palate cleanser. I'm glad that you're still here.
By the way, I learned what a palate cleanser was from you.
Yeah.
In the preparation.
Does anybody not know what a palate cleanser is? It is something that you eat in between to rinse off all of the tastes from before. You can still keep the memory, but it no longer influences what you're going to see next. So, but in order to introduce our proper palate cleanser properly, because I've been following them for a while, I know where they come from, but you might not. So here's a little video, a little sneak peek on no palm ingredients.
My name is Lars Langhout. I'm the co-founder and CEO at No Palm Ingredients. So I was working as strategy consultant in Amsterdam, and I had decided for myself that I didn't want to stay in consulting. And then I read this article of a professor that made mayonnaise with microbial oils, and not having a technical background, I did not know what microbial oils were. I did not know what yeast can do. So I was immediately fascinated with that concept. So I decided to reach out.
He basically offered to talk and about the possibility of starting our own company. I reacted almost immediately because I was intrigued by his approach.
We make palm oil without palm trees. That means is that we ferment food industry waste streams into oils and fats using fermentation.
Well, the fermentation process is we use a yeast. It's a yeast which accumulates lots of oil, and this oil is identical to palm oil. And we grow the yeast on food waste. In this way, we have a very sustainable process.
It's at price parity to palm oil. It's a drop-in replacement, so it's also non-GMO, so we can immediately go to market. And it reduces carbon emissions by 90% and land use by 99%.
We want to save tropical forest, and we want to reduce carbon emission. That is our main mission. No Palm has been around for about 3.5 years now. We started with a team of 4. Now we're on the side of 25 to 30 people, including interns. The next step is that we're going to set up a demo factory. And once we've established that and demonstrated the profitability at that scale at the demo site, then we're going to build our first commercial factory that we plan for 2028, 2029. Our connection to StartLife is indeed using the shared facilities.
StartLife is in the middle of the ecosystem around food and technology. And Wageningen plays a pivotal role there, plays Champions League when it comes to this industry. Lut has reached out to me many times, making direct connections, which has been very helpful with investors that we otherwise wouldn't have not met. So I think there's a big added value to startups in the ecosystem to work with StartLife.
Welcome Lars, welcome Jeroen. Thank you so much for joining me. Please take a seat and put some water if you want. You can sit down, you can relax. So tell me, you've been together now for a couple of years. I believe you said 2021, if I remember correctly. You said you are a winning team in the presentation. What makes you such a winning team?
What makes us a winning team? I think we're quite complementary. Jeroen brings a technical background with years of experience in microbiology. I have a completely different background. You shouldn't put me in a laboratory. We did once with Klokhuis that went terribly wrong, to be honest. But I bring strategy and business to the team, and having mutual values, I think, mutual respect, and not having a big ego really helps.
Yeah, and Jeroen, this young guy came up to you and said, I read your article, I want to start. What makes you say yes?
Well, it was in the Corona time, so it was very difficult to actually meet very close. We found a forest where you could walk with more than 1.5 meter distance, and there we started talking. And for me, I always thought that using this technology of fermentation, there's so much you can do, so much you can achieve, but there's no way that I could get that going in a business. I needed somebody with a business background, and that's him. And he was lacking indeed the technology background, so I would say a perfect match.
Yeah. And then you set up your first facility in Ede, now here in Wageningen, even closer to the campus. You tell us a little bit through how that process worked. Why was that, to me it feels like a no-brainer. Was that the same to you? How did you arrive to that conclusion to stay here and to set up here?
Yeah, we first started off in Ede in a small laboratory and a small office. And when we were growing the team, we needed additional capacity. So you start looking around, and then obviously Wageningen is the first place you look. But primarily staying around Wageningen is because it's the epicenter of food science in the Netherlands, and I'd argue also even Europe and maybe even the world. Plays Champions League when it comes to science. That's also why Jeroen was working here. And obviously talent. Growing a team means that you need to find and source people that are capable of doing the work. And if you look at the team that we have, I'd say 80% has its origins either recently or in the past in Wageningen.
Wow.
Yeah, to give an example, so when we started in 2022, let's say one of the first people that worked for us was actually on loan from my previous occupation here on campus. So that was quick access to expertise and also quick access to some of the equipment that we also used in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. Now you are experienced founders, I'd say. Wow. Have some experience. I saw that there about a third of the people in the room is a founder, and there's a lot of people in this room, innovators. Any tips, any things that you learned earlier on, or maybe just now, where you feel like, oh, if I had learned that, or if I had heard that in a panel session on a demo day at StartLife, that would have been great.
Many lessons learned, but one thing that was quite pivotal for me is that we started off valorizing side streams of our customers and putting that forward as our service to them in that development, which overly complicated what we're doing. At one point, I think there was already 2 years ago, then we said, well, no, let's focus on one feedstock, one product, scale that, and from there expand our portfolio, because I think that's a mistake a lot of startups make, is they focus on too many things, or it's actually lack of focus. And that really helped us transform the company and accelerate the developments, and that really made us hit product market fit. And if we would have not course corrected, we would have not gotten there.
Well, some lessons that I learned was 15 years ago, I decided to leave let's say the environment of Applied Research Center. I was actually working at NISO Food Research then, and decided to go to business, but that was corporate business. It was a company called Coca-Cola. And I was going to be involved in getting fermentation directly to the market. And that failed terribly. I was fired after a couple of years. I tried again at Corbion, and the same happened to me. And I almost thought it was my own fault, but it turned out that if you want things to happen, if you want things to get to the market, and you passionately believe about it, you should do it yourself, instead of being dependent on either corporates or smaller companies. It takes too long.
Do it yourself, get that focus, take over the world.
Right.
And yeah, right? No? Pinky in the brain. Pinky in the brain. Yes. Hey, and then like one final question, because I do want to also open up the floor to our lovely audience. They didn't come just to hear me talk to you, of course, but I know that you launched it, I think, a month ago. The first product is going to enter the market. We are talking, of course, with a stage filled with people that have market entry. Can you talk us a little bit about the product Revolio? What is it going to be? What is your target? What can we expect?
Yeah, Revolio is our brand that we bring to market. We produce both for the food and the cosmetics and beauty care industry. It's a conventional palm mid-fraction fat replacement, so it has the same functionality, the same melting curve, the same fatty acid composition, and it allows us to work with customers that do not want to reformulate. So you can just apply it, and we've actually got feedback from customers. It's actually boring to replace palm oil with our Revolio palm butter. And that's the best compliment that you could get. So very excited for that and the partnerships that are going to be announced in the next few months. So very proud of that first brand launch.
Yeah, nice. Any questions? Anybody in the audience that thinks a boring replacement for my palm oil, that's exactly what I need? Don't be shy. Yeah, here in the front.
I was just wondering if it's already food approved.
Well, the answer is no, but we are now going through a trajectory where we demonstrate that our oil is nothing new. It's completely identical to palm oil, so that means that we will not have to go through novel food.
Yep.
From a future portfolio perspective, today you work on a particular product. So what's in pipeline? For example, there are several fractions of palm. So will you bring them in pipeline in future? That's the plan?
Yeah, so we have different products in the pipeline. So palm mid-fraction fat is semi-solid fat, basically. We also have stearins in the pipeline, oleins. We've been talking about replacing palm kernel oil as well. But that's more on a long-term trajectory.
Got it. Thanks.
Got to stay focused on the first thing first. No.
Wolfgang? Nice catch.
You're using food waste as a raw material. What kind of food waste are you using, and how do you make sure that you get a standardized product out of that?
Well, the type of food waste there's quite a number of different food waste that we have already tested, and they are suitable for our process. So we're talking about dairy side stream, but we are also talking about food waste coming from a supermarket, and we're talking about potato peels, those type of food waste materials. About standardizing, we do see that depending on the quality or the composition of the food waste, we sometimes get a little bit more oil or a little bit less oil. For us, the most important is that the oil composition or the oil properties do not change. And that is basically what we focus on, and to be able to take out any variability in that sense.
I think we have time for one short question, if there still is any.
Yes? Wow, we really have to meet. You have so many questions.
Yeah, get used with me.
Is that a threat for June, or is that a promise?
I'm like that. Well, I know Jeroen for a long time. I've tried many times to work with him, and promise one day we will. Palm oil, it has two negative annotation, of course. This one is regarding the sustainability of it and what happens with the forests, which you do a great job to take care of that. The other one is the nutritional value of it. We have been taught that palm oil composition, because it's saturated fats, is not good for our health. What do you think about it?
Well, what do we think about that? We do have an oil composition which is functionally identical to palm fat, but it has higher levels of stearic acid and also some longer fatty acids compared to palmitic acid, which is actually associated with maybe the not so healthy part of palm oil. So there we have a benefit. But we are not really exposing this as a major element. Our major element is that we can one-in-one replace palm oil.
Cool. Before we end up, I have a question for you, Lars, because you're saying you're a non-technical co-founder, but I hear you talk about fats and oils like you have done a PhD in it. So I'm curious, how did you kind of grasp all this knowledge? Like, did you do like a summer school or?
No, I didn't. Obviously, we spend a lot of time together, so I listen to what Jeroen tells me, and I speak a lot with the team, spend time in the lab as well, observing and talking to PhD folks. But coming from a consulting background, I'm used to deep diving into an industry or a topic that I don't know anything about. My first project was in the offshore vessel industry. I'd never seen an offshore vessel. And within 6 weeks, you can immerse yourself in a topic.
Sure.
And it's about the intellectual curiosity and asking the questions and fundamentally wanting to understand. And if you really want to understand things, then it's quite easy to grasp at least a basic understanding of what the topic involves in.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay. Thanks
so much.
All the time we have. Thank you so much, Lars. Thank you so much, Jeroen. I did see they have a couple openings. So if you are enticed or excited to join their journey, there's plenty of opportunity. And otherwise, join them as an investor for that for the demo plant.
Yes.
Yeah,
What's
you still
next,
wanted
Doreen?
to additional.
Yes,
you still wanted to add another couple of numbers.
So indeed, if you're in the audience and you are looking for a new challenge, please know how to find our job portal. Indeed, I think you're still looking for a head of finance, or is the position already filled?
No, we are still looking.
Still looking, so you can also find it there. In the last 3 years, we have been publishing around 1,200 jobs there. Around 600 people have applied through positions which directly feed it forward to the inbox of founders. And I know from the network, multiple co-founders matches have been made from this. So again, if you're looking for a new challenge, please visit our job board at jobs.startlife.nl.
Yes. Next. He's already ready to go. I welcome to the stage, Jyrki Liho-Kohonen, CEO of Perfect. Here you go. The stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Fascinating to hear the story of no palm. I hope you guys can still digest some more fats. I'm Jyrki, the fat guy from Finland, so we continue with the theme. So what we do at Perfect is we produce solid fats which are healthy, functional, and ready to be deployed. Since the main ingredients that we use are healthy vegetable oils and dietary fiber, our fats are contributing to both healthier hearts and happier guts. Our fat contains up to 80% less saturated fats than conventional fats, up to 30% fewer calories, and unlike any other fat, it contains plenty of dietary fiber. Not only is our fat healthy, but it's functional. It's proven to work in very different types of application, ranging from confectionery, bakery to dairy products and plant-based foods. And the structure is very tailorable, so we can adjust it to the needs of the specific applications. We're not a biotech company. We work with material physics instead. We're also not a novel food, so we're good to go to the market right away. And we're working on scaling up, and our ambition is to have commercially produced products available by the end of this year. Our business model is B2B, so we're selling to companies in the bakery, confectionery, plant-based food industries, also working with distributors and other ingredient companies, and we're also licensing our technology selectively. As the name implies, Perfect Technologies, we work with several different technologies, but our core technology, our core solution is based on an advanced oleogel technology where we can take any vegetable oil and through a 3-step process we give it a structure of a solid fat. We have patents behind this technology, and as I mentioned, it's not a novel food. Our real secret sauce is the multinational team that we have, including some of the leading scientists within the field of oleogels globally, complemented by team members with experience from operations, finance, and B2B food ingredient sales. We're addressing a big market. We estimate, or some researchers estimate, that the market is worth north of $100 billion annually, global edible fats market. And, sorry, one more slide. The company is turning 2 years in about 2 weeks. During that time, we've achieved a lot. Most importantly, we're working with leading global companies in the food sector, already generating revenues, but we're happy to meet with new corporate partners and, as always, investors. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions there? And
Sticking to the topic of fats. Yes.
Thank you. We need more healthier food. I was wondering what's your relation, beside the support you got from StartLife, what's your relation with the whole ecosystem here? Did you get new relations? I'm curious about it. I'm from the province of Gelderland.
Okay, so specifically Netherlands and StartLife context. Okay. We participated in several different accelerator programs, including Big Idea Ventures in Paris and Plug and Play in California. Both were great. We felt that we didn't have the network in the Benelux region, and StartLife seemed like a great concept for us to approach to broaden our network here, because there are lots of potential customers in the region and other partners. So we felt that this is the way to enter the Benelux network.
Specific marketing reasons?
Marketing reasons, yes, there are a lot of interesting customers, but also the whole ecosystem is interesting for us.
We can continue the full 2 minutes about talking about how good StartLife is. It's fine.
Yeah, later.
Okay, later. Any more questions? Yes, in the back. Ooh, it's a long one. I'll try.
Goeie Loet.
Hey.
I have a question regarding the oxidation. Vegetable oils can be susceptible to oxidation. Your process in the formulation, does it affect the oxidation, that it becomes less or more susceptible?
Yeah, so currently we have products which have shelf life, ambient temperature, and what you would call worse conditions around 9 months. And we're working towards getting to a year and beyond that. So we have solutions to address that.
Okay. Thank you.
While we are waiting for maybe the last question from the audience, I got a sign from Shako. Online
Yes,
question.
I have one.
Yes.
The question is actually, what is your source material for the fats, like the main source right now?
Yeah, so the main source is vegetable oil, which is the choice of the customers. Okay. So some prefer rapeseed oil, some prefer sunflower oil, but we can work with olive oil or any other liquid vegetable oil. It's really up to the customer. So that's the main ingredient. The second main ingredient is dietary fiber.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay, any last short question for Jyrki? Otherwise, it's time to move on. Yes? All right. Let's give a hand.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Welcome, please help me in welcoming to the stage our next pitcher, which is Frederik Maarten from Kaitos.
Thanks. Right. At Kaitos, we want to become the microbiome management service for horticulture. And why do we want to focus on that specifically? As you know, there are a lot of losses that can be attributed to plant disease. And it's our belief to do not only focus on pathogens, but really look at the whole microbiome and preserve a healthy, resilient microbiome to reduce disease, chemical use, and promote plant growth in the end. I don't have to tell you that's a significant market opportunity, especially here in Benelux, where we have a lot of high-tech greenhouses. And that's also where we focus on. The greenhouse is a very complex environment with a huge microbiome, and it's really the unseen majority in that greenhouse. We have it in the irrigation water, we have it in the substrate, we have it in the drain, and our job is to go from that greenhouse and really bring it to the palm of the farmer, the palm of the hand of the farmer or the crop advisor, to really be able to look at that microbiome and make actionable decisions on that. So what do we offer specifically? We can allow the farmer insights into the microbiome health, the global microbiome health, to modulate that resilience, but we can also show how the microbes are active, even in the substrate, even in the part that is not that well visible. And finally, we are developing using AI, specific recommendation engines to show how you can do precise dosing of sanitizers and biostimulants in the greenhouse. So why Kitos? Why are we different? We are actually not using DNA-based technologies. We're not plating. We're using flow cytometry. And that's the core of what we do. Every single biological cell, be it an algae, be it a water fungus, be it a bacteria, will pass by a laser and we will generate a high throughput and very scalable single-cell microbiome data that we can use as an input for our machine learning models. And that's our power, together, of course, with our team, that we can translate that multivariate data set into actionable insights. So we started in 2021 in Belgium. We have had a nice and steady growth. We also started labs in Vietnam and Thailand. And this moment, we have a huge reference database of microbiomes, partially in aquaculture, but also already over 20,000 microbiomes profiled in horticulture and all kinds of crops, from the water, from the substrate, even from the sediment and from air. Where do we want to go? We want to expand our partner and distributor network, and we want to further develop this AI platform. We really want to be able to give precision farming advice based upon the microbiome. And of course, at our existing labs, we want to expand our horticulture growth. So we're looking for product suppliers. We're not the ones making the sanitizers. We're not the ones making the biostimulants, but product suppliers that are interested in coupling this with our AI model, and investors to grow our technical sales and our key account management. So thank you very much, and I'm open to all the questions you may have.
Maybe one question from my side, Frederik Maarten. So can you name an example of a use case that you have with a tomato grower or one of your other customers, where you make a direct impact on their daily business? Yeah.
Thank you, Lutz. So essentially, when we have a subscription with the farmer, they do get data before they even see that their plant is getting sick. So we had a very nice use case with a tomato grower where there was crazy roots in the substrate. The plants were not really showing.
Sorry, crazy roots?
Agrobacterium infection.
Okay.
Not rhizogenic agrobacteria infection. And we were able, a month in advance, to already see that something was going on. And that was, and at that case, a technical issue because one of the tap sections was not properly opened. But we were able to identify that, and by showing that in time, they were able to recover part of the crop. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this question already partly answers my question, but I was wondering, how do you correlate your data sets of flow cytometry data to function and specifically soil health, I guess?
Well, yeah, we don't look in soil most of the time, it's in substrate, but the question still stands. So there's multiple layers to that answer. But the first one is we actually benchmark it with sequencing data that we actually use as an additional layer to contextualize our data. So we are able to very nicely correlate this phenotypic fingerprint that we have with actual genotypic data, for example, of bacteria, but also for water fungi like Phytophthora, Pythium, Fusarium now even. So we're really making great strides in that. So we generate this coupling, and then the second level of data is, of course, yield data, which ultimately is what the farmer is most interested in. And there we're working together with larger corporations of, for example, tomato growers to integrate that data and couple it to our models. Yeah.
All right. One more question. Yes, there
one over
or
there.
two. Podrick?
Ooh, nice.
Thanks. Sounds really interesting. Why are you just working in greenhouses? I can see this also being very useful outside in the field, also for disease monitoring, things like that.
Excellent question. Right now, we also need to focus. We've heard it before. We need to focus. We're a small team, but also in the greenhouse, we feel there's more knobs that we can turn. The systems are more closed, and we can actually have a little bit better control over how we mitigate certain diseases in the greenhouse. Yeah. It's a question of focus, but also a question of being able to have high-tech buttons to turn. Yeah.
One more question here. Yeah.
Okay.
We know that microbiomes can vary a lot Are you able to say how a good microbiome has to look like?
Thank you for that question. That's actually what we started with. So our general microbiome monitoring program does require some backend. And luckily by now we have over 20,000 profiled microbiomes in different crops, mostly tomato, bell pepper, and cucumber right now. But we are able to see the shifts. So we base ourselves on microbial ecology theory. We actually come from a microbial ecology lab to really look at resilience. We look at microbial diversity, and we try to, from the microbiome itself, predict the risk of potential disease outgrowth and the resilience against infection. But also how beneficial organisms would be in there as well. And so that's why we want to do this whole holistic view of the microbiome.
Thank you so much. Let's give a hand for Fredrik Meijten.
Yeah, and don't forget that if you have still lingering questions, they are around during the networking afterwards, and you can scan the QR code. But first, of course, we are a connected ecosystem here at StartLife. We saw the partner overview before, and part of our connected network is the Fast Lane program, hosted among others by Food Valley NL. So it is my pleasure to, as a premiere here today, we have to welcome the first of 2 Fast Lane scale-ups companies that join us on stage as well. So first of all, I mean, there will be one in between, so I cannot say they are back-to-back, unfortunately. But the first one is Vivici. So please put your hands together for Steven van Sint-Fiet, CEO of Vivici.
Be here. My name is Stefan. I'm the CEO of Vivici. Vivici is an innovative Dutch ingredient company, and our mission is to make the promise of dairy protein from fermentation a commercial reality to meet the growing need for sustainable and nutritious protein in the world. Of course, we're here in Wageningen, and I'm preaching to the converted. Most of you know protein demand is going to double over the next 2 decades, but our planet's resources won't. So no matter whether you look at this ideologically or pragmatically, we will need complementary sources of protein. So which proteins should we make, and which proteins, which technologies shall we use for it? Now, we heard from Grassa that the cow is always right, and we agree. So we focus on dairy proteins. We focus on 2 proteins specifically. One of them is the main whey protein called beta-lactoglobulin, which is valued for its nutritional properties and functionality as an ingredient. And the second one is lactoferrin, which is valued for its health benefits and its bioactivity. And so the main thing about Vivici is we make those proteins without the cow through a process called precision fermentation. We take these ingredients into a $20 billion market with a B2B ingredient business model. And over the last couple of years, we've built an end-to-end protein production platform that starts with strain engineering capabilities, goes through process scale-up and process development capabilities, and last but not least, in the functionality and application of the ingredients and the know-how around the ingredient selling playbooks. So this is one of the differentiators of Vivici, that we have that end-to-end capability. Now, our main goal here, of course, is to bring these ingredients to market at price parity, which is very important. We don't really believe that there's such a thing as a sustainability premium in the long run. So our go-to-market strategy is quite simple. Focus on premium market segments to enter the market, cost optimize, and scale into the mainstream segments. And in order to execute on that, we've built a production platform. We've now scaled the process to full industrial scale. We recently announced a manufacturing partnership with our US partner, Liberation Labs. We're working with several European partners to produce. And as of beginning this year, we actually have paying customers. So we are a revenue generating company in 2025, which I'm very proud of. So that is, of course, not possible without a fantastic team. We're a team of experienced biotechnologists and foodies, and we're dedicated to making this a commercial reality. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Questions? Yes. I'm going to try to throw it again.
Don't kill them, please.
Thanks. Why did you decide to join the Fastlane program?
We valued the structured program where they team us up with mentors, where we got to learn from our peers. I was really fascinated by the peers that we were with and the various business models. That was a great learning experience. So for us, those two were the main drivers, and that really paid off. And we were quite happy with the Fastlane program. We would recommend it to other startups. Quite in fact, we were so happy that we joined another accelerator program after the Fastlane to kind of keep that momentum of learning and challenging and interacting with peers going.
Thank you, and we are very pleased to hear that it was not available in Delft, so you had to find it out here in Wageningen.
Yes, right.
All right, nice throw. Any more questions?
Oh, I see somebody waving over there.
Yes, in the back.
Everybody is pointing that way. Sorry, Fadoon.
Thank you for your presentation. You're currently focusing on whey proteins. Where does casein fit in this equation?
Right now it doesn't. Our focus is whey protein, and as I said, our focus is on whey protein for the reason that it's a broadly applicable ingredient, or both of the proteins are broadly applicable ingredients. The thing with casein is when you have casein, you can make cheese. When you have whey protein, you can make a bunch of different food and beverage applications. So we were drawn to that as a first step in our portfolio, but I won't exclude that we go broader in our portfolio in the future.
Thank you.
Yes. This is an easy throw.
What are the scales you're seeing right now? What are the scales you're seeing right now, and what are you looking for in terms of scale and production?
Yeah, so when I said full industrial scale, what I meant is fermenting in fermenters of 100,000 liters and above. Obviously, in order to service a large market like that, you will need multiple fermenters. So ultimately, you want to scale into larger facilities with multiple of these fermenters. I think the largest that we've seen where you still have acceptable oxygen transfer and stuff like that is 200,000 to 400,000 liters. That's really where it maxes out. Ultimately, what we'll be looking for is cost parity. That's what we care about, cost of goods. The scale of the fermenter is secondary to the main objective, which is let's bring dairy protein from fermentation to the market and do so at cost parity so we can really make a dent in the protein transformation.
Okay, we have one more question from the online audience.
What is the input for the protein production?
Sugar and salts and water and other things that make the yeast happy.
Okay, great.
Oh, that was a short one.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Stefan.
And next up, I get to welcome to the stage, not the CEO, but in this case, a VP Business Development from Neolithics, David Cutt.
Got to speed up, no time to waste.
Nice little jog at the end. Enjoy.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Katz. Wonderful to be here in the heart of the food industry, of the food ecosystem. We actually help you see the quality of all the fruit and vegetables that are powering this food system. There's a massive issue in the food system, and you've actually heard the word food waste quite a few times already. But if you're looking at the fruit trade, where avocados come from all over the world, largely into Rotterdam, for example, the food system depends on sampling to understand the quality. Sampling that's destructive, sampling that's expensive, sampling that is very time-consuming. Sampling also that does not yield any information because the samples are so small that the actual understanding of the fruit quality is very, very, very limited. You want to know the bricks, the acidity, the firmness, and all kind of internal defects, and that is severely lacking in the food system at the moment. That lack is actually costing a lot of money. It's money that you, as consumers, are all paying for. On an avocado, on average, 10% of the price of an avocado is just to make up for all the food that is wasted along the food chain until it reaches you in the supermarket. 10%. We're paying for that, not just in money. We're also paying for that in the fact that 11% of all greenhouse gas emissions are caused by food waste. Now, it's also impeding the growth. We're talking to a lot of growers that deal with avocados, that deal with blueberries, and because of the inconsistent quality, there's a severe disparity between the potential of the market and the actual market. And that's because if you buy an avocado that's disappointing twice in a row, it will actually put off your additional buying for about 2 to 3 months, which is really depressing the size of the food system. Long intro. So what do? Very simple. We're using hyperspectral light. Very simple. It's a light in a very high spectrum that actually penetrates through the fruit and the vegetables. It goes in about 1.5 centimeters, meaning that on the blueberry, we can see the entire berry. So this is a diagram of the technology that we can install in various settings. I will get back to that in a second. And we can see everything that's important, everything that's crucial, and everything that is severely lacking in the food system, in the fruit system specifically, fruit and vegetable system, like bricks, like acidity, like pesticide residues, or juice content, for example. Let me give you a quick example of what it looks like. These are strawberries, and all of you can actually see that the strawberry on the bottom left isn't looking very good. But we can actually see that there's another berry that is already deteriorating as well, but we can also actually predict, because of the molecular structure that we're seeing in the cells, that the green rectangle is actually about to look like the red rectangle in a day or 2. Hyperspectral gives you the internals for early detection. Whether you're in, and wherever you are in the food system, this is really driving sales, this is driving revenue, it's driving margins, and it's reducing food waste. We can do this in a QC setting, about 180 pundits an hour. We can do this in a QA setting, like a bigger machine, and it actually looks like this. I would love to actually give you a demo one of these days. We're doing a demo on the 4th of June here in the Netherlands. We're doing another one mid-July. But we can also do this on the production line. So increase your fruit value. You want me to stop? I know there's no time to waste. So please connect with me through LinkedIn if you're in the fruit system, if you're in the ingredient system. We would love to help you read the mind of your fruit and vegetables. Thank you very much.
This means that we have time for the shortest question. One small question.
I was looking at the time, but anyway, I'm in no time waste.
Questions?
No questions?
Here. Yes, in the front. Great.
The winner is this person in the front.
Yeah, I had a question about the parameters that you use. Is it really nicely correlated to the post-harvest life of the vegetables? Is it a good indicator, the bricks and the different values?
It's a tremendous indicator. It's actually the indicator that's being used now, and you can do it post-harvest from really just at origin all the way to the destination. The best thing, obviously, is if you correlate bricks and acidity and juice content. So actually, if you create a digital twin, and that's exactly what we did with the World Economic Forum, we created a digital twin for avocados all the way from the origin to the retailer in the UK. So please connect. Thank you very much. there's no time to waste.
Thank you. Yeah, and I promised you a second company to join us today from the Fast Lane program. So please put your hands together for last, but certainly not certainly not least, Jasper Schouten, CEO of One2Taste.
Thank you very much. I think there's actually more. I think No Palm was also part of the Fast Lane program, but
There's a lot of them sprinkled throughout.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Next one. I'm the CEO and founder of One2Taste. With One2Taste, we digitize the selling and sourcing of food ingredients. And we do that to save time, to reduce costs, and to unlock growth. Now, what we see in today's world, we see that a lot of time is waste, and billions of euros are wasted on inefficient processes in sourcing, product development, and in sales. And that is because we did not embrace the digital transformation. And we're not selling planes, etc., but this is a comparison as before with the phone. So if you look at the One2Taste platform, there's two sides of the platform. There's a seller side of the platform and there's a buyer side of the platform. Going one step deeper, the One2Taste platform simplifies the long tail of sellers. So you can imagine that an ingredient supplier has a long tail of customers that it's servicing. We can simplify that 75% by taking away the transaction, by taking away the cash collection, by taking away the payment terms. We can reduce the sales time with 40% by less traveling, by less follow-up time and negotiation of the terms. And we can speed up supply by 10x because we keep things in our warehouse on consignment. On the buyer side, the other side of the platform, we see similar things. We can simplify the buying journey with 75% of the complexity. We can reduce the time of procurement people with 40% of the time, and on top of that, we can help ingredient developers to speed up the process of innovation by quick sample production, quick sample submission and delivery. Now, if you look at the market, the problem is a 50 billion problem that we are actually trying to disrupt. Looking at the seller side, it's around 5 billion, the time spent of people. If you look at the buyer side, it's about 45 billion on time that buyers spend. Now, why invest in One2Taste? We have a 3x growth this year from 2.1 million that we actually already done this year, and we have 5 million contracted, and we will end at 7 million. We have a pipeline of 42 million. We add 230 new customers every quarter. Our conversion ratio from visit to customer is 1.6%. Our average order value has tripled this year, 3x, and our reorder rate is 60%. On top of that, the One2Taste platform is digital by the soul of it. So we don't travel to customers. We are a remote office mainly, and that's why we contribute to a lower emission. 25% of the goods that we sell are biological or organic ingredients. Now the team, we have two founders, both industry experts and technology experts. We have a very nice group of advisors, ex-industry leaders, and ex-entrepreneurs, and ex-tech. Invest in One2Taste.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing One2Taste, Jasper. Any questions for Jasper?
Jean, wow.
Jasper, you're sourcing ingredients. Have you discovered new interesting ingredients today?
I think there are some interesting ingredients that I saw today that would be, of course, we also look at whether they are market ready, whether they're ready to scale, because once we start supplying, we need to continuously supply and make sure that our customers can depend on their supply chain. But they're definitely interesting ingredients, for sure.
Thank you. Maybe you have good tips to in the future for to make it market ready, more market ready.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Wow. Yeah, we have to go back to you, of course.
Thank you. Of course. I have so many questions, but let's do the easy one. What is the difference between this platform and Amazon?
Well, Amazon is obviously also a marketplace. I think the big difference is that we truly understand the food ingredients industry. We have a long history with the team that we have in the processes. So also the process of food ingredients is a little bit different than buying shoes or something else. It starts typically with a sample, then it starts with scaling up, and then it starts with larger volume. So you need to understand the industry in order to serve them the best. Also, if you look at marketing automation, the kind of content is very different than just promoting shoes, for example.
Amazon sells also ingredients.
Sorry?
Amazon is also selling.
Yeah, they are in their express, but they typically their knowledge base is much less than our knowledge base.
Yes.
Buyers often rely on long-term relationships, and they say, if I need something, I want to know whom to call, and I want to be sure that I get the quality and I get it fast.
Yeah.
How do you argue about this?
Yeah, so that's why we have a vetted platform with vetted ingredient suppliers. So we make sure that they deliver the quality, they have the right certification, and they have the right product capabilities and capacity to serve also the customer long term with the right quality.
Do you have like an onboarding team, or like how do you onboard like a new customer?
Yeah, so we have an onboarding team. The interesting part is that the food ingredient industry is by far digitized. So we normally need to go in. There needs to be a long description. There needs to be a short description. There needs to be pictures of products. There needs to be a collection of data sheets, of material safety sheets. So there's a lot of work that comes in when you want to come online. But that's where we have an onboarding team indeed that works with suppliers to put their products online.
Yeah, just out of curiosity. So today you are talking about ingredients. In future, will you ever integrate a co-manufacturer setup? For example, a lot of producers, they look for co-manufacturing capability, vendors who can produce ABC product. So
yeah, we get that question sometimes, indeed. We have on the platform, we have an area which is service providers that actually offers a connection with these service providers. That's something that is as a service, so we just connect them, and that way the customer can work with them directly, and we're not further involved. But it's an additional thing that we can do, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're
Let's
welcome.
give him
Thank
a warm
you
applause.
so much, Jasper. Here I am once again. But that was the last of our questions. And that was the last of our pictures as well. But before you all get up and leave, I do want to invite a couple more people to the stage who have been part of StartLife, who are part of StartLife, and who will be part of our story moving forward. So as everybody knows, our current managing director, Bert-Jan, is leaving us after a year. So thank you, first of all, so before you end up here, thank you so much for all your passion and the drive and motivation for the past year. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Bert-Jan Woertman and Sebastian. You still wanted to say some things, if I remember correctly.
There was a prop for me, but
the prop has disappeared. Oh no! Oh well.
Yeah, there was something for me hidden below my seat, but I couldn't
yeah,
find
it has.
So the prop has gone, but I'm here. Yes. Okay.
I found the prop.
You found the prop.
We found the prop.
Ah, there it is.
You always see at the most important photo moment, the prop has gone. So once again, thank you so much for all of the things that you've brought to not just StartLife, but the entire community. Sebastian, do you want to add some things or?
Yeah, before you can do something with your prop, I had one or two words to say thanks to Bert-Jan, because you, as Rien already said, brought enormous drive and energy. But you also challenged us quite tremendously. Last year, coming from a different background, Bert-Jan really challenged us to do better on positioning and look forward to make the story of StartLife even better. Thanks for doing that, and we hope we will be doing that in the future to come. Secondly, you've strengthened the team tremendously. You've challenged them to work better together and to be even more connected to all our network. And we hope we'll see that just in a few minutes with the drinks. And lastly, you also challenged us to make a better connection between the local and the global. Mm-hmm. So in order to remember that on your onward journey, I do not only have flowers to bring home, but let me get my prop in a minute.
Thank you.
Oh, you also have a prop, Sebas. Good.
I put them somewhere. Yeah, thanks.
Because I brought something which is organic, which is green, which is circular, and which will definitely bring forward new stories to weave in any journey to come.
Oh, cool.
And since you're in the heart of the food valley, of course, a sweater of Wageningen University.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will wear this with a lot of pride and pride. It was an amazing journey in the past year. 3 things. I really love this campus. It's an amazing campus. I was here first visiting with my daughter that wanted to study here. Now she's going to study somewhere else, but that attracted me. Yeah, sorry for that, but that attracted me to this campus. Yes, okay, I don't know. It's the age. The
she's not done studying yet. We might still convince
So I really like the campus, the dynamics, the talents, and the mix of companies, research institutes, but most importantly, the people walking around that I meet every day, also during the lunch walks. The network that has been built here in decades, Food Valley region, Food Valley NL, is amazing. Also the province, we worked a lot together, also connecting provinces, connecting domains. I really like that, but most importantly, in the end, it's always people that make the difference. And yeah, what an amazing team. And then going forward, I would like to call, if that's up to me, I don't know, my successor, Nicola Harrison. Please come forward, because that's what the prop's for. It's the official handover of the flag. So now, excellent. In the team, we have this bell, and we have rung this bell often. That's when there's a highlight, and we've done something special. And now, next to the bell, there's this flag to raise. And looking at the team, having worked with them for over a year, there will be many highlights. I expect coming year, coming years. You have an amazing team. You stand on the shoulders of a very passionate, driven. Innovation everything's aimed towards impact innovation, and you will love it. You will love working with them. I'm totally convinced. So here's the flag.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm really excited to be joining the team, working with partners going forwards, and you've done such amazing work to get everything to this stage. So thank you all so much. Oh, thank you. Wow.
No, I can put it. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay, yeah.
Awesome. Once again, thank you both, Bert-Jan and Nicola and Sebastian, for being here. And then it really is my turn to start off a long list of thank yous on top of this one with thanking you, Lut. Thank you so much for sharing the stage with me. First
Likewise,
time
Irene.
together. I believe you still had a couple of things, but I couldn't have been here without you and without your tremendous knowledge of our ecosystem, connecting all of the players. Lars already said it in the video, constantly thinking along, who can I connect this next person to? So thank you so much for that as well.
Thank you. And then on my side, again, I was saying already at the beginning, Jorien is the most colorful person that we have here on campus, so it's a pleasure to host and co-host the stage with you here, and looking forward to the drinks later. Before that, I have a couple of thank yous from my behalf. So our first thank you is to actually our whole team. You see a couple of people here, but especially to Natasha and Jean, who have been making this event possible. So let's, maybe you can raise your hands and we'll give you a big applause. Thank you so much. Thank you back home for watching. It was really a pleasure to have all your questions. Thank you, Shaco. Thank you for all your questions here in the audience, and especially this gentleman for your questions. Thank you for all the founders who have been pitching today. We'll see most of you back here, I expect, at F&A Next tomorrow and the day after. And I hope you will join us on the Founders Boat, which the bus is departing at 5 on Thursday afternoon to the kennels in Amsterdam. We'll be sharing a drink as well. Then, last but not least, we have 4 startups which brought some special drinks and bites with us. I believe we have Foreverland, Rebread, Akoya, and Levo. Leave. Okay. Should we leave?
You can say.
Okay.
Now we can stay for leave.
And all the bites are ready for you to taste. So please also provide us with feedback, which will bring it back to the startups to share and grow their business any further. Then, last but not least, around 4 months from now, we have our 15-year anniversary, taking place on the 14th of October in Ede. So it's a couple of miles away here in the Maurits-Kazerne, and we're very glad if you can join us there. Big welcome. You can already register on our website. So please come along. And then last but not least, we'd like to ask all the founders and the StartLife team to come forward. We'll make a nice picture, and everybody else in the audience can go for the drinks and enjoy that time. Have a nice evening. Thank you.